Well, welcome back to Stott's Fine Art. We are going to do some aspens today. We're going to do it in oil, palette knife oil, and if you follow me, I'll do either acrylic or oil, sometimes watercolor. But anyway, these are up around northern New Mexico and into Colorado, so got a 12 by 16 canvas, so let me do just a minimal little charcoal sketch here. Just get the one of the trunks out front here, like that, kind of a dominant trunk, and just sketch a few more in. It's you know, the paint's going to be covering this up pretty quick, so it's really just developing a little muscle memory where to put some of the trunks, which the trunks are what are so recognizable about aspens, the dark marks on them, and they're very beautiful trees. I think everybody likes aspen trees. Maybe we'll have a just a little path disappearing there, so we'll have a couple of smaller aspens over here, and then some foliage, maybe a few mountain flowers, and that's really about all we need to get started. And I've got my palette laid out here with some Winsor Newton Winton color. It's a little close, but you can see that. And that's not going to be quite enough mixing space. I've got a paper palette down on my table here, so I have a little bit of extra mixing space. So let's go ahead and just put in a couple of trunks, and I like to darken them. Start with some dark and then work light. So make up just a kind of a dark warm gray here. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see, here we go. So you can watch the mixing. Some brown and a little bit of ultramarine. Gray it up a little bit, ultramarine blue. And just a little bit of white. Don't need it too terribly dark to start with. Okay, so we'll just started getting some trunks laid in. And this, again, it's maybe a couple of parts to this video. I'll see how fast we can get it done. But just blocking in, you can be pretty messy. These palette knife oils, it's almost like the messier you make them, the better they look. I had a student once that really wasn't an artist, but they just wanted to take some art classes just for fun. And they were doing palette knife oil, and I was just telling them, well, you know, the messier you make these, it's almost like the more people like them. And he just said, hey, I think I can do this. This is so he was happy to know you don't have to, not every style of art is a perfect photorealism, you know. A lot of art's just very impressionist or expressionist, and so you can handle it any way you want. That's the fun of it. Okay, so let me put a little bit of light on top of that now. As you know, those trunks are fairly light. I just wanted to have some dark underneath. A lot of the time in these palette knife oils is the mixing on the palette. So just mixing it up. Let me get it over just a little bit lighter here. Kind of a light gray, warm gray. Okay, so we've got some, and get some of that lighter color on top. So you see it, you can almost just dig out a little of that. You've got that dark underneath. You can take some to get those black marks, or you can, you know, just take some of the dark, put them on top as well. You got your option. So let's throw a little bit of light on these other ones. And before we get too much detail, a lot of this is going to get kind of wiped out because of the foliage, so this just gets us a start. And the foliage, we'll start with a little bit of, oh, let's see, some yellow ochre and a little bit of sap green. There's some backdrop. We're going to go very fall, very gold and yellow, but we're going to build that up light, or dark to light also. So we'll start with some little bit of this yellow ochre and green, and you just see this in between the trunks and then covering up the trunks as well. It's just going to be a tangle, mishmash of trunks and limbs and branches and foliage for a while. Then we'll just so just lay it in there, and then we'll start organizing it a little bit. Down in some of these lower areas, got a little more shadow. Be a little more green down here. Just let it fade out down there for now. We want to keep this, get some dark underneath. That'll help when we start bringing in those light yellows and golds on top. In a minute, that'll help those stand out. These are This is like just laying a foundation. And for the brighter colors on top, where the sun is hitting and brightening them up. Let me try maybe a little bit larger brush here. Something with a little more flex to it. Press this in. These lower layers don't all have to be thick. We can thicken it up as we go if we need to. So just stir it up. Just want to start covering the bits of canvas in there. You can just throw in any of this underpainting, just any color that fits your fancy. It'll work fine. But I guess we'll finish it more in the traditional colors, you know, the golds and reds. That's what's so beautiful about those aspens. Okay, so let's get some of those lighter colors in there. Some cadmium yellow, and I'm running out of mixing space here, so I'll work it on this paper palette down to my left here. So yellow, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna in there. We'll save our brightest to the last layer. We'll put out some more yellow. But go through a lot of paint this method, so I've already got to refurbish that cadmium yellow. Okay, here's more of a cadmium yellow medium. Put a little bit of burnt sienna in it. And okay, that was the mixing time. So I'm going to start laying some of these little bit more finished color. We'll go even brighter than that, but this is more the intermediate. Now, something about this, you know, I want these broken up, these edges, to look more leafy, you know, more leaf-like. And so when I'm just laying in some dark, sometimes I just smash it in any old way just to get the dark color and wipe out some of the other things I've done, but we haven't put much time in them, those trunks. So, but as I get to a little further along, I want these leaves and these strokes to break up on the edges, you know, look more leafy, a little looser. And I do that by not pressing, just very lightly. It's like you're just letting the paint underneath grab and take it off of your knife instead of forcing it in there. And then you get this nice, it's just a random look, which the leaves are. You know, if you try to get too precise, they begin to look a little mechanical, and that's not really what we want. We want it to look random and natural. Okay, so a little more of this. And you can let it marble. It doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. In fact, the marbling looks better in a way. And now I want to do some more of this, but I'm going to skip ahead and just to show you when we get to the I'm going to get some cadmium yellow light, and then I'll put maybe a touch of yellow ochre just to tone it down a bit, and burnt sienna. And this is a little more of the final strokes and layers. You'll see right on top. See, it's the darker and the medium tones help those lighter tones to pop out. And then even just some pure cadmium yellow light. See how that starts? That begins to get a little more fall aspen-like. And you can also mix a little white with it. Now I'm jumping ahead here and just doing this area. I'm kind of forgetting about this for now. But I'll take some just pure cad yellow light and some white if I want some real bright, you know, some real light values. If you can see that, it's hard to put this in between the camera and the painting, but okay, so there's some extra light value, but you see how you build it dark to light. It's the same thing, excuse me, the same thing I do with acrylic. Well, I do acrylic in thin, soft layers. I like to do distant things, very dreamlike, distant landscapes. For very heavily textured things, I like to use the oil and with a palette knife. It works perfect. It's for like adobes and stones and trees and things that need texture. Now you can kind of work it a little bit with the tip of that brush too. Do a little more detail here and there. And so we're just getting started there. And then we can come back in and do a little more on those tree trunks too. Let me clean off. It helps to have a couple of brushes. You can have different colors going on the different brushes. Let's see here, what do I want here? Trying to make up a light warm gray, and it's looking a little more cool. I want to warm that up. Get a little yellow in there. And a little more white. And I'll just let that marble. Okay, and then we'll go back to these trunks, and you know, as you're working this piece, you're going to damage. You're going to have some collateral damage, and have to kind of keep putting things back in. Eventually, you get there. You get the amount of definition, and then the amount of you know, texture and loose painterly strokes as well. So you just have to work it together. And again, you can, if you need a little straightening up, use the edge of that knife. Okay, so we've got, see what that layering does? If you can just, if you're a new artist or any artist that's just interested in different techniques, just layering things, whether it's thin layers, thick layers more with oil, thin layers with acrylic, and just layering is going to add some depth to your painting. And I think these oils, I love all media and painting, but these oils I think are the most fun. They all that texture is just a blast to put in there. You'll see some of those trunks in there. If you get it a little too much of the trunk color, come back and okay, let's get some of that in foliage color. You can also, as this thickens, you can cut in some branches just with the knife too. You don't even really paint them in. But you see how versatile this palette knife painting is. It's a lot of fun. Okay, now I want to do some more of the foliage, but I want to lay in some blue sky in here, and then I'll come back with some gold foliage on top. Well, let me put a little more foliage in first, down in here, maybe a little bit, and I might make it put a little bit of cadmium yellow light, even though these are typically just gold and yellow. I'll throw a little orange in there. You don't really see that much in those fall aspens, but it doesn't hurt to use a little artistic license. Okay, go through a lot of paint in a hurry. But those could just be gold with a little bit of shadow on them, so really they fit in okay. They're down here in these lower levels where there is more shadow. The light's not getting through as much. Stir it up where you want to. Just And then maybe some, still a little bit of green down these much lower areas. You can pat it too if you want to build it up. You can pull it up. And then, I don't really like to leave it that way. I'll come back in and then knock it down. Just like a knockdown finish on a plaster wall. And you see some of that red I put in, I wasn't planning to leave it, but I wanted it as an underpainting, and you'll see just little bits of it here and there, and that'll be enough to add some interest to it. People will notice that and be somewhat intrigued by it, possibly. Again, the underpainting, just almost anything will work. Just pulling up whatever's on my palette here. But you see, we'll brighten some of that up too, like this. And we still have work, you know, that's not finished up there. I want to put some of the sky in right in here first, and then come back to that. So where's my time going? It's 27 minutes. If we need to, we'll make it a two-parter. We'll see how fast we can finish this up, though. I'll tell you, the mixing, you know, this is a stiff paint, so the mixing takes time, and but that's just part. I want to show everybody, you know, it takes time. It doesn't. You don't just throw it on there. If it gets too long, I'll go in and edit out, you know, little bits of it that are just too long. But I want you to see the real deal, you know. Especially if you're not a painter, you know, you're just watching it because it's fun to watch craftsmen work. And so you need to, it's good to know, you know, there is some time involved. I had a reporter in Norman, entertainment editor. He took a class from me, and I didn't really know who he was, and he didn't really make himself known, but he was going to do a story about art lessons and painting, and so he thought he'd take some himself. And then he did a story, and he started off, well, I learned about painting. I learned painting is hard, and it is at first till you get the hang of it. And he wrote a real interesting story. I thought it was a good story, so it was fun. What you run into through art. I got a lot of neat people I've met, and through the art world. So that's a blessing, you know. That's the real riches. It just adds in richness to your life. Art does, and creating it, or meet the people you meet. And so it's like as you get older, you learn the destination wasn't the pot of gold. It was the journey all along. And The sooner you learn that, the happier you'll get, I think. And then you just be patient for the destination. Okay, so I'll put in some nice blue sky here. Now, just to get those edges, sometimes I'll wrap them around with my finger. Go a little faster. Okay. And don't lick your fingers. Dry it off on a towel. Okay. Now, these colors, when I do a sky, part of the texture I leave is really part of the painting. And I don't particularly just want to do that, you know, just flat. Now, I've seen some that do that, and it's all right, you know, nothing. If that's how you want to do it, that's okay. But I like to, you know, build up some texture in here too. And I've already run out of paint. I'm going to mix some more. Mixing that up here. And they're a little thicker. I don't particularly want it maybe as thick as this, but I do want some texture in it to make it interesting. I think it makes it a little more interesting. Now right in here, I'm going to mingle in with these colors. Might get a little messy here, but you just you work it in, and then you'll come back with the golds and touch it up. But either way you put it in, with the sky first or the trees first, as it mingles, you're going to have, you know, some cleanup to do. Some of those paints will mix where you don't want them to, since you're working wet and wet. And now it's okay. I mean, it's a very impressionistic piece, but sometimes it may mix a little more than you want, and you just, you know, come back in and clean it. More paint. Bring me more paint. Also extending the paint volume, this Lucas painting butter medium. They have other companies make something similar. It helps it dry a little faster. It doesn't cost any less than the paint, so it's not like you're saving money. So if you need things to dry a little faster, it works pretty good. Otherwise, you know, you might as well just, I think the paint may almost be less. So I've been playing around with it a little, trying it out. Okay, let me just blast this in here, even though it's a little messy. See, it kind of mixes maybe where you don't want it to, or maybe that's okay. You know, really, like I said, sometimes the messier the better in this style. Get some of this in here. And it's, you know, it's mixing a little more than I want, but I'll either leave it. If it looks bad, I'll clean it up. Take time to clean it up. Work some blue down in there. And that's probably good enough. It's got it in there, so I can come back in with my golds. So, mixing, more mixing. Got a variety of paints here. Here's some Georgian De La Roni. Seems to be like good paint. I'll paint, I do more in acrylic now, but through the years, for many years I'll do watercolor, then I'll do acrylic, and then I'll do oil again, and then you pick up. You don't use all your paint, so you store it, and you pick up a variety of paints. Sometimes they're beyond saving. You wait too long, but some of these are newer tubes, some are older, but they all look like they've held up pretty good. But it's you painted many years, you build up an assortment of a lot of paints and paintings as well. So if I didn't paint anymore, I think I'd have enough paintings to last a while to sell if I wanted to. But okay, let's see some of this cad yellow light, maybe a little white in there. Have kind of our brightest colors up here toward the top, reaching towards the sun. We'll see how that looks. Sometimes things can be too bright, and you want to put a little more I don't know, a little more richness in it, That kind of struck me as like too bright with what I had going. But you never know till you get near the finish, and then it's because until you have every other color around it, you don't know how that's gonna finish out looking. And finishing those edges, you can. I tend to, put a big stroke in, and you can leave it like that. I tend to want to, loosen up those edges, little small leaf-like strokes, and it just seems to be the hardest part. It's like ending it. How do you get a nice natural finish there? I'm thinking, should I bring this all the way off up here or leave a little? Well, let's just try it all the way off. I'm really doing that. I kind of like the composition of letting that sky run across, but I feel like it needs the height, though. This truck really needs, the size of it would need to go higher, so we'll try that way, see if that. I could always bring that off, shorten it, but to me, this right in here, and as it goes into the sky here, seems to be where the eye wants to go. And so You know, you try to, wherever that focal point seems to be, you just try to make that your best part and get it just right. Well, we're at 40 minutes. We've got a little more to do. Just hate to feel like I'm almost finished. I hate to break it into two parts. My just sitting at attention painting, whether I'm sitting or standing. Some of you probably have experienced this. Your back starts really barking at you, your lower back or upper, and it's just barking at me. But I try to fight it, and I'd like to finish this if I can. But I don't know. I don't want to start crying on camera. No, not that bad, but it doesn't feel good. And gosh, back trouble's so universal, but a lot of you feel my pain. This just seems almost finished. Let's push forward. Just maybe one longer video instead of two short ones. I don't know if you're like me. If it's a two-parter, I'm watching somebody else's videos, and sometimes it's hard to find second part you're going through, and something you really like. So. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Maybe lighten that up. That's a little bit of a dark spot. Okay. And really we need to put a couple of more trunks in there. My paint's getting a little bit mixed up. It gets a little polluted with other colors. See how that's got a little bit of yellow in it. Just didn't take time to clean it. Maybe that would look okay though. Instead of changing that, maybe just to make these match it a bit. Maybe just a little hint of a couple of trunks. We'll just kind of speed through this a little bit. Yeah, I don't like the way that leans out. I want to make it more straight. That's a little better. Okay, that gives enough. Makes it look a little more finished. There's a little more trunks in there. And okay, here, let's put some of the gold color on top of here. This doesn't have to be quite as brilliant color. This is more of our focal, so maybe we can not spend as much time, catch up a little time on this part. Get those edges again with a finger. All right, so A little more gold up there. It's need a little brighter down in here. Yep, more paint. It's just hard to put out enough paint. These thick paintings. This is just 12 by 16. You can imagine on some of the bigger pieces how much paint you end up using. Okay, maybe some of the green down in here across this little path. Just stir that up. I got some nice thick detail here. We can go a little quicker on this to get it finished up. Trying to get rid of the white canvas a little quicker underneath. Oh, I think we're going to finish this. Okay, now I can just put a few thicker strokes on that. A little more cadmium yellow. It's a stiff paint. It's hard to squeeze it out. Again, some of it's a little older, so might be 2 or 3 years old. Okay, a little bit thicker and brighter. Over here, we don't want to hurry through it too much where it don't have any volume of paint. Still want that thickness. Okay, and then maybe a few I think we need a little bit of the cad yellow light up here, a little bit of the gold to tie in with that. Trying to break that, just had too much of a perfect little semicircle there, and just wanted to kind of break that up a little. Okay. And that path would probably be a little bit of a brown, dirty path, so just a simple little stroke. Can you see that all right? Yeah. Just disappears as it goes around the bend. Some little canvas spots still showing through. Okay. Now we need a little hint of trunk right there on these. And I think we'll stop then. Let me get this just right. We won't do much to it, just kind of run the knife up through that paint. And that's really enough right there. Kind of stir that up there a little bit. Okay, now I want to thicken here a little bit on this side because that's where I want to sign it. I'll be able to dig into that area a bit. Oops, excuse me, I hit that. Kind of run that road that way. And then smooth that a little bit. Okay, now I need a smaller knife to sign it. Let's see, I need a smaller one with a smaller point. There we go. Hopefully that won't fall off. Okay, so that's a little too thick there. I like that blob, but it's right in the middle, right in the way. I'll leave it there. Okay. All right. Well, it's a little, I see a little messiness up there. Let me just clean that. Well, that's quick. That's about as good as I can do, but sometimes the quicker it is, it ends up better, a little fresher and crisper. So, I appreciate your attention. Hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed bringing it to you. And let's see. Let me do a few close-up shots, pan them around there just to finish. You can see the texture nice on there. You can see those trunks. Okay, well, thank you from Stott's Fine Art. Like and subscribe if you'd like, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.